Hello, everyone. Andrew McKee with A Life's Affair. Great to see you all on this Monday evening or night, depending on where you are in the country. And that's always the fun part about the internet. We get to be in a lot of different places, so that's always good. But yeah, it has been another another interesting week. I don't know if you saw the last show on Thursday. We did actually have a small problem with the Facebook stream on there where it would pause every once in a while. I did a bunch of research. I'm the kind of guy that when we have a problem, I research it like crazy and found out that I think it was a small bitrate issue um, where I might have cut it a little close into what they would allow. So I've scaled that back and I think we're okay now. Shouldn't be a problem in the future. And that's the beautiful thing. You learn a little bit as you go. So, but the YouTube link and stream was great. So it still had a great show and it was a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed that and got to see it. And hello, all of you. Yes, you have Jan and Linda and Katsarita and Jerome and uh, Kristen and Diana. Hey, and Janine. Yeah, excellent. Wisconsin, nice, Linda. Yeah. Ah, you're actually getting some cooler temperatures than I am down here. I know that. Certainly not warmer. Yeah, we're still getting those hundreds. Colorado. Oh, that's nice, Janine. I Colorado is a nice place. Ah, haven't been back to Colorado in a while. Used to do some conventions up there a lot, but yeah, and haven't played the Colorado Renaissance Festival yet, and that is on my list as well. Looking forward to that someday. Ah, so yeah, I hope all of you have had a good weekend and got to relax a little bit, not not stress too much. Oh, fall like Linda? Oh, that's just now you're just taunting. That's not even that's just taunting. And hey, Diana, great to see you there. Um, yeah, it has been an interesting weekend. A lot of cool stuff going on. A lot of interesting things for the future. But you know, I new fairs are opening up. Like Pennsylvania will be opening up here soon, and uh, PRF will be opening up not too much later than that. So it's we'll see how that goes. Interesting time. Oh, and Lee's bragging about her temperatures in Virginia. Okay, so I'm the only one in the tropics apparently. That's how it's going to work. I see. Everybody's just rubbing it in now. Okay, go ahead and get it all out of your system. Everybody, go ahead. Go ahead. Talk about how the leaves are already changing color. How you're getting the snow tires all ready to go. Go ahead. Go ahead. Rub it in. Rub it in. It's fine. It's fine. I can handle it. Yeah, and Jan's where I am. So yeah, we're dealing with those temperatures in the hundreds. Personally, I've finally lived in Austin long enough where the temperature, I'm a little used to it. It doesn't feel overbearing. I can go outside and I'm not insanely bothered by it. Of course, at the same time, now I'm a huge wuss. If I go up to if I go up to Canada or something like that, I am not going to be happy because it's going to feel really cold in the winter. I could not handle it very well. So it's a balance. And Death Valley hit a high of 130 degrees. Wow. Ah, well, it's just to another step in the on the ladder to terraform Earth, make it more like Venus. That's what I always say. We'll get there someday. Mm. Well, yeah, America's talking about Houston, and of course, it has the humidity that Austin doesn't have. It's always more humid in Houston, so that's where I grew up. I grew up in Houston, so I'm well acquainted. Kristen, living on the face of the sun. Oh, I don't have an outdoor job, but I do try to go out a lot, Kristen, and as much as I can, just to remind myself what vitamin D is like. Uh, but uh, but yeah, it's not. I mean, certainly when I've gone out and mowed the yard and do that. Oh, she just mentioned is surprisingly good at yard work. Yeah, it's not a problem. You just take more breaks, you drink more liquid, and Yeah, I don't know. I think it's more the mental thing than the physical. I prepare better. And, I think one of the things that Fair has done for me over the years is prepared me for those hot days. I mean, I've been to those fairs where I'm really working up a sweat. I'm jumping around on stage and doing that kind of thing in 105, 110-degree weather. Um, I think the worst one I ever went to was one, let's see, it I think the King Arthur Pendragon Fair that I went to many years ago in Oklahoma, that was in July. That was the first year of the fair, and that was the only time they ever had it in July. They learned from that. That was the only time I think I came close to heat exhaustion. That was rough, and I learned a lot from that. And after that, you just take care of yourself, and it doesn't seem so bad. It's all relative, and I think it's mostly a mental thing. But certainly, um, being in Austin for this many years, I think has helped. So, mm. And yeah, Lee, she is a super outdoor person. I'm definitely a indoor city boy compared to her. She really is. She really likes doing that. But yeah, I think I think it's all what you're used to. You can get used to anything. I think if I ended up going up to Canada and living there for a couple of decades, I could probably get used to the cold up there. But it might take that long for me. I've never had to do that in my life, so it would be different. Hmm. There you go. Definitely. And that's a good question. Why don't they have Ren Fair nights? Have a Ren Fair at night in the summer. Just do a night thing. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? You just kind of rest in the day and just chill out all night and have fun. I'm not saying it'd be very popular, but it'd be interesting if you could pull it off, with lights and do some cool stuff. I don't know. I'm surprised nobody's tried that before. If somebody has, let me know because I have not heard of that. But just doing a Ren Fair nights thing, kind of like what Disney tried with Disney nights and didn't really work very well. But uh, I don't know. I don't think they really tried. They didn't do a good job with it. So yeah, just a thought. Be kind of interesting. Hmm. Yeah, I think some good a good nighttime fair would be interesting. Now they do have a few events that are kind of like that. Okay, it's super expensive to run electricity to that much land, and I totally get you, Lee, for saying that. But now with LEDs, I think you could do a lot. It would be a lot easier than it used to be. I think if you set it up right, it's possible at least. Um, yeah, yeah, and I certainly you couldn't do it on a large scale. I think a large fair really could not pull it off. It'd be impossible. Mm. True, it would depend on the location and how it's set up because liability issues could be a problem. And Kristen, I think you're right. The vampire crowd, might be an interesting route to go. Uh, go more the that type of route with the theme. Could be interesting. Oh, really? Indoor Ren fairs? I'll have to look into that. Fox Moon Productions, apparently, according to Jeremy, that they did that. That's interesting. I had not heard about that. I'll see what they did. Do some research. Because that is an interesting idea. Yeah, I think that is a really interesting route. But yeah, just a random thought. I know it's rare for me to have random thoughts, but I thought I'd just throw one out. Oh, really, Lee? I didn't know you'd looked into that. Um, yeah, yeah. Hmm. And I mean, if you looked at it at someplace like Larf, I could see where that would be Louisiana Ren Fair. That would be a rough spot for it. I think some places would be better than others. Um, like I think the Castle of Muskogee, if they did it right, it wouldn't be too bad. With a small section of the fair, including the castle itself. Oh my gosh, a full moon fair. Oh, that would be great. I think with the right location, in the right time of year, uh, you could set up an after hours night on a full moon during a Ren Fair time. If you could do it, I think that would be really wonderful. I think that'd be pretty cool. I know Sherwood certainly has done some late night stuff where they've done some events, but um, they haven't really pushed it too hard. And yeah, TRF did has done some evening stuff where they keep the fair open late, but it's not all night kind of thing that I've at least not that I've ever heard of. I mean, they do some for the cast and performers uh, all night, but that's yeah, that's always rough. Mm. Yeah, and Kessler is right. The after dark in the camping area, but the thing is, performers and cast they don't normally get involved in that because we have to work the next day. Um, it's got to be professional with that. But for patrons, yeah, they do some stuff out in the camping area. But that's a little different though. I don't think that's quite what I had in mind or was thinking. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think what you really have to have is an area that you can light and have a few key stages nearby and kind of just blanket it, quarantine it off, where you have one stage on the one side and then another stage on another, and everybody can just kind of go through that area, and it's very flat and very safe and very well lit. It's not it's not that dangerous for people to walk around. Um, with the right LED lighting setup, I think you could do a pretty cool job. Especially if you themed the lighting and made it look really good. Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be really interesting. Hmm. And that's kind of, I mean, don't you always do that? You always think about, what would I do if I could, if I owned a fair? That's always the question, right? What would you do if you owned a fair? Everybody's played that game, right? It's like if you go to Ren Fair, that you always do the everybody has the conversation of if I won the lottery, I'd do this. Well, if you go to Ren Fairs a lot, you always say if I owned a Ren Fair, I would do this, and it's a very common game at Ren Fair. I'm sure everybody's played it. Uh, but yeah, that would be it'd be interesting to try. But yeah, I remember Disney doing Disney Nights and that being a bit of a not good, and so yeah, I wonder how well that would work, and I think Lee's right. The insurance and everything would be very rough. Uh, mm, yeah, and after hours stuff has been popular in some places, but I'm thinking about just having it all night. I mean, treating it like a um, what do they call those? Like old lock-ins kind of thing, where you just kind of go in and have fun all night and have an all-night party. I just think that would be kind of interesting. I don't know. I wonder. I mean, would is that something for all of you uh, watching and listening? I mean, what do you think about that? How do you feel about it? I mean, other than what people have done, is that something you would actually be interested in doing? I'm kind of curious on this. I'm just yeah, because I I don't know. I mean, in the right situation, if it was like a Sunday night and I didn't have to do fair the following day, I'd probably be interested. I think it'd be pretty sweet. I'd be wiped and tired, but I might be like, let's just do this. Especially if it was like the last night of fair or something. Um, Kind of a party to keep it going. And I think Merrick was about to type "I would," but didn't quite get there. Yeah, I don't. I imagine Jan wouldn't be a fan. Yeah, I think yeah, because if you're not used to it, um, and yeah, not needing sunscreen that certainly is a benefit. But yeah, I think uh, I mean, there's certainly been some late night stuff that I remember from performers at fairs on like Sunday night that people have done, and certainly Sherwood has a lot going on Friday nights. Other fairs do too. Um, and yeah, and of course Lee, coming from a management background, is like thinking, oh, the logistical and operational nightmares. Yeah, I get that. I get that. That certainly would be an issue, but at the same time. I mean, what if it was like what if it was like a bonus? I mean, you think about some of the like the late night fireworks some places do, and that kind of thing. Uh, it's it's not. I mean, it's one of those things. It could be an interesting theme to try once. But I know it would be an interesting endeavor, and it would have to be the right location and set up very, very well. You would need somebody like Lee to run it because if you didn't, you'd be in trouble. And I think she's right. The liability problems. Um, and Drew just got in and he's asking, what are we talking about? Yeah, we're talking about for Fair. What about doing an evening of Fair where it's all night, where you come into you have like an all night lock in kind of thing for Fair where people can come in and maybe on a Sunday night or whatever, like a nighttime fair. I mean, whether it's a standalone or at the end of fair season or whatever, and people can do that. Is that something people would be interested in, and what are the issues and problems with doing that? And I know some fairs do some, after dark stuff, but I'm talking about like an all night thing, or at least till like 3 or 4 a.m. or something. I mean, I think it'd be interesting to go through and watch the sunrise. I mean, I could do it. I've done it enough. We call those LARPs. Yeah, Jeremy. Yeah, that's funny. Um, um, yeah, and Janine's talking about going somewhere with air conditioning and then going back outside, and that would be the issue. Yeah, you'd need to make it consistent. Um, yeah, and then there's that. Yeah, sometimes on Sunday nights I'm wiped. I'm about ready to pass out. Um, but uh, but yeah, I mean, if it was the end of the season, I'd probably keep enough going where, because it's your last chance to see your friends and hang out. I think it'd be kind of interesting if it was on the last day. And I'm not talking about every night. It would just be a special thing. Drew, we were also talking about maybe having it on a full moon night, which I thought would be pretty sweet. Um, a lot of extra possibilities. Yeah, and Steve, I do remember those from LARF, and they have worked pretty well. Some of the benefit concerts and that kind of thing. They have started doing that, but yeah, they didn't run all night, and LARF has that pub that is has an exit um, right into the parking lot, so you can kind of get away with that a lot easier. Um, so it's just like one concert with a group and it's not a large group of people that go to those at LARF. So I'm thinking of scale a little larger than that. Um, you know, uh, like a thousand or 2,000 or something like that, if that would be possible. Um, with the right location, the right stages, the right number of pubs, the right security, the right you'd have to do some stuff. you know, Jeremy's talking about Saturday night and then start Sunday late. Well, I know a lot of people that go party Friday night, then go all day Saturday, and then Sunday they don't show up till 2 p.m. or something. At fair, they do trickle in late. Um, that's kind of how they do it. Oh well. Um, well, Dragon Con is a little different, Chris. I mean that's a lot of people will go there. It's one weekend. Oh, it's a long weekend. I mean, people will just go and hardly sleep. They'll do a few power naps and that's it, and see as much as they can, and then they crash all day Monday. So that's a little different. I mean, with a convention, it's a one weekend thing and a special thing. I mean, although I guess you could look at fair that way too, if you planned it right. And yeah, Lee's right that that pub was designed for that because it was had an exit um, right next to the parking lot. But um, yeah, I mean they did some really good stuff with that and some not so good stuff. I think it was parts of it were designed well and parts of it I really question how they did it. It was odd. I would have done a few things differently on that. And yeah, after a full day of performing, it is tough. Um, and yeah, game cons. Jeremy's right. Like Gen Con, that's people game all night, and that's. But you go in expecting that. I mean, you plan for that. You get a lot of sleep ahead of time, and then you go 2 or 3 straight days of craziness. So, and then you catch up next week. Now it fairs, weekend after weekend after weekend. That's a little hard. So I don't know. Um, and yeah, I think Janine's right. You could do like a full moon and an astronomy type situation. Um, like, oh gosh, imagine if there was like a good comet sighting or a full moon or something. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. It could be some cool stuff. Um, yeah, yeah, I think so. I think it might be kind of cool. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think this is an interesting idea. Would it translate well to online? I mean, would any? That's my next question. Would people be interested in doing all night stuff online? Um, is that something people would be interested in, like saying shows all night, like kind of like the old MTV late night stuff where they do stuff at 2 a.m. that was very different than what they do the rest of the day? I don't know. Uh, would online stuff translate to all night? I have my doubts, but I'm kind of curious what you think. And Christian's right about Sherwood, doing a Friends of Fair only gathering at the Stone Circle. I remember that at the spring solstice. Um, but I mean, once again, that's a Friends of Fair only gathering, and it's very um, it's very limited. So they keep it very small. And for me, I'd be curious about changing the scope on that. Hmm. But yeah, I don't know if this would translate as well to online. That's my next thought. Hmm. It's a tough call. It's a tough call. Yeah, one of the interesting things, Janine, she's talking about take advantage of no electricity. I mean, I'm a city boy, um, and oh, don't worry, Lee. She's talking about me taking her precious sleep. No, no, I'd handle the night shift. You'd take over at 4 or 5 a.m. for me, and when I'm about to pass out. So we'd have to rotate. But no, no, the no electricity. I think you're right because I'm a city boy, so I don't really get to see the night sky like some of you do very often. When I go out in the country where there's very little lights, like when I'll go out and stay with friends in Louisiana and I look up at the sky, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. When there's no lights around and I'm looking up and I don't see that in Houston or Austin or any of that. It's great, and a lot of fairs are, of course, in more rural areas, so you kind of get that benefit of really getting to see the night sky in a great situation. Um, Certainly not like it was a few hundred years ago before there were lights anywhere, but it's still a lot better than you would in the city. So yeah, I think it does open up some interesting possibilities. Um, a seance that could be interesting. I mean, yeah, actually you could have so many different subgroups in a situation like that where you have different ideas. I mean, nighttime entertainment, whether it's looking up at the sky or dealing with more of seances of the occult, or um, I mean, um, uh, I mean, there's so many different options. Um, yeah. Well, yeah, you can Google the night sky, but Jeremy, but I don't really. That's not the same. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's I don't know if I've ever really seen the Milky Way, at least not clearly. Um, where if you're really within a low light situation, you can actually see it, and I don't get to really see that. I see some stars, and I see a lot of stars when I'm in the country, but I've always wanted to go to one of those really remote parts of the world, and um, where there are very few, but where you can actually see the night sky like you could 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago, and go back to ancient Rome or ancient Greece and see what the sky looked like to them, because the wonder of it all would just be so amazing. comparatively to what you see now, and you can kind of understand a lot more into their writing and why they were so amazed by it, why they thought that the sky was so special. I'd love to see that. And I agree with you, Steve, that just hanging around and jamming around a nice bonfire is pretty nice. It's always fun. I mean, you always have options. You can do so many different things. Um, so yeah. And Jeremy lives in the forest. Okay, well, we may have to we may have to all come for a visit. I like it. Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, if it's in the right time zone, you could. It would be easier. Like if you're on the depending on what coast you're from. Well, sure, the sky is okay. Jan's saying, the sky has changed from 2,000 years ago. Sure, because the stars have moved. We have a different North Star than we did back in the day. I get it, but at the same time, it's not the exact star positions, but just the majesty of the sky itself that has changed in industrialized society with so much light, making a lot of the sky not as visible. That's kind of what I mean. You didn't get to see armadillos in Texas, Ginny? Oh, I mean, gosh, it's hard to drive on a road and not see them. At least some used to be armadillos, as I like to say. Yeah, I mean, they're. I guess they're not as ubiquitous as they used to be. When I was growing up and around Houston, you'd see them a lot more. Hmm. Okay, interesting, Drew. That RF loses interest after dark. Okay. Huh. Well, it's interesting. Yeah, and it's just an interesting idea. I wonder how well something like that would work. I don't know. Maybe it's something we need to look into and uh, try to push for a little bit. So anyway, just a thought, random thought. I thought it would be something to check out. But yeah, okay. Well, let's. Yeah, actually, I had stuff to talk about. Sorry. That's kind of we kind of got off on a tangent there for a while. Wow, like a 30-minute tangent. Wow, that's not a record for me, but we'll go with it. I already told you about last week's show. I thought it went really. I mean, except for that glitch on Facebook. I mean, I still thought it was a great show with Dan the Bard and Fugly. And if you liked it, or if you didn't get to see it, check it out on YouTube because it was very clean and clear and technically better quality because YouTube, the video is always better quality on YouTube compared to Facebook, I'll be honest. So check it out on our YouTube channel. And if you, and definitely check it out. I'm sorry that there were a few problems. It won't happen again, I think. I think we got that fixed. And if you I will definitely have them back at some point. I look forward to having Fugly and Dan the Bard back because they are always a lot of fun. Good stuff. And gosh, I mean Fugly especially put so much production into that show. Really good animations and good stuff. So definitely worth checking out. But yeah. And Lee says she'd turn my tangents into a drinking game, but she's not sure if any of them would survive. Yeah, well, you see, in that I wasn't even trying there. That was just me thinking out loud. I'd do that. Mm. But at least I come up with some good ideas sometimes, so it's worth it. It's worth it. So yeah, let's go ahead and I did want to talk about one interesting thing. So yeah, I had this idea, and tell me what you think because I I I wanted to do something like 7 reasons, and Lee and I kind of came up with this, and I think it's a really good idea that um, to do 7 reasons. And I'm just going to start off with something I really kind of like. 7 reasons why the recorder is the perfect Renaissance instrument for today. Now I've got experience with recorders, so I think I know what I'm talking about. So I think we can really do this justice here. Okay, So work with me on this. Just let me know what you think here, because I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, 7 reasons. Now, the first reason why the recorder is the best Renaissance instrument for today. Okay, first reason, availability. None of that, Jeremy. None of that. Availability. You can get a recorder easily from music stores, uh, retail stores like Target or Walmart, no problem. Um, Anywhere online, fairly easily. Uh, and even in most countries. I mean, from Ireland to Australia, from China to South Africa, you can find a recorder there locally or online, and that's rare to have an instrument be that common everywhere. There are very few instruments like that. Um, so yeah, that is definitely one. So availability. Number two, easy to play. Now, I know what you're saying. Wait a minute. I've heard fifth graders play recorders. They're not that easy to play. Um, Actually, it is a very easy instrument to play. It's just a difficult instrument to play well. But hear me out. You work on it for a few hours, and you can get a basic tune out. You can get hot cross buns. I mean, if you have any aptitude at all, even if you don't, a couple of days, and you can still get a tune out and have people recognize it. Can you do that with a trumpet? No. Can you uh, can you do easy songs with a wow with a violin and make it sound good quickly? No, you just can't. But with a recorder, it's a lot easier to play. Um, so yeah, just number two. So number three, low cost. Yeah, and you already mentioned that, Drew. So yeah, low cost. Um, okay, now wooden recorders are, well, here, I'll give you an example. A wooden recorder is not that expensive. This is an alto, but it is not that expensive, really, even for a wooden one. Now, a soprano wooden recorder, you can get one for about $30-$40, which, a decent one. And for the alto, wooden one, it gets closer to 100, but I mean, this is a larger one. But yeah, it's really an interesting instrument. So So yeah, a nice wooden recorder. Now, for a plastic one, you're right. You can get them. I mean, you can even get cheap ones for under $10. For a decent one, they start around $12 to $20 to get a good one. But for a really, really good one, about the best plastic soprano recorder you can get, like the one I play, it's about $40, and that's just crazy. So let me see if I can transpose this. We'll do something. So something like that. And it is, oh, and also you can tell the difference. The wooden one sounds, I mean, that one's a little lower, but it also has a little bit more of an earthy sound. But really, it's not that much different, and I like it. So low cost. So pretty good. Now, the number four reason, and this is a biggie, high pain threshold, right? I see, here's the thing. Thanks to heavy metal music and punk music, I mean, the last 40 years has changed the view of what is acceptable sound. I mean, 100 years ago, if you made ear-piercing sound, I mean, they would probably whip you. It would not be pretty. Yeah, they didn't accept that. Parents would just say, "No, just stop being loud. Don't be noisy." And now people are kind of used to music being insanely loud, even if they don't like it. They're at least familiar with it. So even if you hit some bad notes, people are going to be more forgiving, which is very nice. And it'll avoid you being boiled in oil for your affront, for the slight. So yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So that has helped a lot, a lot. Yeah, very nice. So high pain threshold, excellent. So how society changes. Okay. And for the reason number five, good for transition. It is a great transition instrument. You learn the recorder, and you get decent at it at all, it's a lot easier to be able to jump on and play a clarinet or saxophone or bassoon or an oboe or even that evil flute. Sorry, I'm a little flute biased because they kind of overtook the recorder in popularity in the 18th century. I haven't forgiven them yet. But no, I mean, it's a great transition instrument. So many instruments and the way that the fingerings work are set themselves up because of the way the recorder was. I mean, they kind of owe a little bit to the recorder in that respect. So, yeah, it has that ability. Unlike other instruments, like, okay, from the time you play a sackbut, what does that help you with? A trombone. That's about it. It doesn't really help you with much else. I mean, the mouth, I mean, playing a brass instrument, it might make it a little easier to play a trumpet or a French horn or something a little, but really as far as the hand mode, no, it doesn't help you near as much. So recorder, much better. So recorder, much better than a sackbut. That should be a bumper sticker. I'm just saying. Okay, reason number 6, getting attention. Now, I've found that getting someone's attention with a recorder, really easy. Think about it. Now, you play some of those high notes, people can hear you from way across the fair. I mean, give everybody, all your friends, their own theme song so you can play it along and they'll hear you and they'll come over to you. It's great. It also works as your own fezzik. You know, when you're going through a big crowd, you know, people hear you and they're like, what? What is there a parade? What's going on? And they all part for you. So it's just like fezzik going, everybody move. It's great. It's great. Yes, Steve, but you get to go around saying sackbut all day. That is true. But you can do that anyway. You don't have to have a sackbut in order to say sackbut. You can just say, look at my recorder, better than a sackbut. Look at my recorder, better than a sackbut. You can still get it in there. I'm just saying. Okay, and the last, reason number 7. Okay, portable. Seriously, I mean, when you think of portability and Renaissance instruments, what do you got? This. There is not really anything more portable than a recorder out there. I mean, modern-wise, maybe a harmonica. And interestingly enough, you do, for a long time, at music shops, you'd normally find recorders and harmonicas right next to each other. I don't know, maybe the portability. Yeah. And yeah. And Drew's saying, yeah, day after, okay. Yep. And is that Drew? And that's exactly it. You get known for it. So thank you. Thank you for proving my point, Drew. But yeah, portability. It really is so portable. You can easily take it with you. It's pretty easy to bring into fair if you wanted to. I mean, it doesn't really take up much room. It's really easy to just carry around. When I first started playing it, yeah, I always just have the little lanyard that I just keep it around my neck and do it that way. But that just that works, and I just kind of do it like this. But yeah, holsters work great too. But no, it really is wonderful and portable and easy to bring around. When I first started playing the recorder, and I played many other instruments before I ever touched a recorder, I reversed the process that most people do. I treated it as my portable saxophone with the whole, and that's kind of how I started with it, that kind of concept. But then I started getting to the whole concept of this was a traditional instrument, and Bach wrote for the recorder. Telemann wrote songs specifically for recorder. Vivaldi. I mean, this was a very seriously taken instrument in spite of the elementary school view of it we have now. So yeah, very cool, portable. 7 reasons why the recorder is the best Renaissance instrument for today. So that is my proof. Tell me if I'm wrong, but honestly, I'm probably right. So thank y'all. Yeah. Let's see. Yes, Drew is right. If you take a musical instrument to a fair, be mindful of your surroundings. Don't just indiscriminately play, because there are people that are trying to make a living there doing music. But, sometimes if you're playing a bard character or, having a recorder is a very simple, easy, portable thing to kind of go with your outfit. And if somebody says, hey, can you play that? show them a quick thing. I mean, the interesting thing is when I, as a musician and performer at Fair, if I see somebody bring in a guitar or something, I'll give them a quick second. I'll say, okay, show me what you got. What do you got? And I'll jam with them for half a song or sometimes even a full song if they're pretty good. And of course, for them, it's a great thing. They love it because they get to jam with the musician and have fun at Fair and have their friends kind of see them all, as a musician and not just as a patron. And it's a great thing. So I always try to encourage that. But yeah, do be mindful. Don't interrupt people. And as performers, we have to do that too. When we are walking around Fair, you have to be very mindful of hawkers at booths trying to sell their wares and other shows going on. You don't want to interrupt them and take away. So it always is something to keep in mind. Mm, yes. Ah. So yeah, yeah. So that is my 7 reasons for today, and I might try to keep that going if you like it. I think I might try to do a different 7 reasons next week. So hopefully that'll be a recurring thing. I thought that might be fun. Ah. So yes. Now let's see. Wow, we're really just going through the day really quick. I need to tell you a little bit about the next show because Thursday's show, I don't think there's an event up for it yet, and the reason why is because we're still working on putting it together. It's interesting. It might actually be a live jam. So, okay, what I've been working on, and I've mentioned this a little bit to some of you I think on here, Fair Life, is getting a setup where musicians from different states, different places can all online play together in real time and do that. And not really many people have been able to accomplish that. So if you get it all set up and configured right, that's a lot of the key. You can make that happen. And I'm working on that with a few musicians. Now, I'm not quite sure who all is going to be a part of it yet. It looks like it is going to happen, but yeah, if it does, that'll be Thursday, and it'll be back and forth jamming with. So like you said about going around a campfire at Fair and jamming and playing songs, that's kind of what it'll be like, and try that out a little bit. Lee already talked about that on Patreon earlier, so excellent. So some of you already know about this, but it is going to be fun. If for some reason we can't quite get it together, we'll put something else up. But right now, that is the current plan, and I kind of have to work with people and get the software set up and tweaked, and every millisecond in delay is a thing. So you try to shave off as much as you possibly can. So I'm not quite sure which musicians are going to be part of it yet, but there will be a few, and it should be interesting. It'll be a good test. Now, the thing is, if this works, you know what this means. You know what it means, right? It means that we can do a pub sing on our channel, a live pub sing. So, when we first started Life's a Fair, the first thing we did was we did the on that Saturday after Sherwood closed, we did a Sherwood pub sing. Sort of at the same time the pub scene would have gone on. And from everything we could tell, a lot of people appreciated it. It really helped them deal with the loss of Fair that was going on. So, yeah, from that day, I mean, we talked about it back then of wouldn't it be nice if we could do a live pub scene remotely like that? And that's been a goal for many months. And we've been looking into it, doing the research, figuring out the technology. I've gone through tons of different programs and software, seeing what was best and really figuring out how to tweak it. And so, yeah, that is the plan. And imagine being able to get a pub scene with musicians from all over the country and everybody jamming. I think that's very doable. That's very possible, and we can mix it up where we have a pub scene with this group of musicians, and then a pub scene with this other group of musicians. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. And yeah, thanks, Kristen. Yeah, that pub scene was a bit of a band-aid for the sadness that, like she said, that it really, honestly, I think it helped all of us, not just the people that watched it, but the performers too who were in it. We really, uh, it really helped our psyche a lot because we were all feeling the loss as well. I mean, not just of that, but there was a lot of uncertainty. Yeah, that's true. It has been months of hard work, testing and retesting. Yeah, I did. I have done an actual show test, that a recording that will be going on at DragonCon this weekend with Mark Gunn, and that there were a couple of problems, but I've since fixed it with that, so now we're good. So I keep doing these tests with it, and I've been testing with some of the some of the musicians and trying stuff, and it has been going great. So I'm very happy about that. Uh, yeah, I think this is going to be a great time. So that is something to check out, and yeah, I think yeah, I think that the interesting thing here is that oh yeah, I haven't talked about DragonCon. So so yeah, Lee's right. Start thinking about which performers are on your wish list for your first virtual pub scene. Yeah, because we can. Now the problem is they have to have the right equipment. If they don't have the right equipment, it's not doable. You can't just use the mic on your phone for this. You need decent equipment, I should say, and a really good tweaked setup. So, but we can try. Now, DragonCon will be coming up this weekend, and I've done DragonCon. Um, let's see, I missed a couple of years there, but mostly like for the last, I've gone to DragonCon like 15 times in the last 18 years or so. So yeah, it's been performed. So it's been interesting. But it's all online this year for DragonCon, like a lot of other events. So yeah, I'm doing, gosh, shows, a lot of shows. Shows Wednesday night. There'll be yeah, actually there'll be a show um, Wednesday night, Friday night, Saturday stuff during the day, Sunday stuff during the day. So I'll be doing a lot of different things. It will be um, it'll be interesting. So if you're interested in that and you'd like to see me at DragonCon, you can go, and I think most of those shows are free just to watch, and we'll be posting links to all of that on Life's Affair. So uh, yeah, and on my page, Andrew McKee, the Irish Bard. So yeah, take a look, please, and that should be fun. But that's more a personal thing for me. Mm. Yeah, my week's gonna be a little busy. Yeah, but yeah, I'm going to get a good test of the live setup on Wednesday night as a pre-show, a preview show for DragonCon with my old bandmate Mark Gunn, and we're going to be doing a show through the DragonCon Filk track for that, and we're going to be trying the whole live show. He's going to be in Atlanta, I'm going to be here, and I think it's all good. It'll be a good test, and then Thursday we'll get to do a good test with several people and try that, and that will be interesting as well. And from that, I think we'll be able to look at pub scene in the future. So, yeah, should be a lot of fun. Oh yes, yeah. Hmm. So yeah, I think that it's an interesting time, and I know I've mentioned some of this before on Fair Life, but the this yeah, I mean, let's just take a quick look at ironically at our future, the future of Fair. I mean, we always look at the past when it comes to the Ren Fair, but let's look at the future of Fair, because why not? And I think it's going to be interesting because there is going to be a live component, and I think all shows in the future. This has been such a thing that has been pushed um, during this time, and everybody's getting used to streaming and seeing shows virtually. Um, I think from now on, when people do shows, play at an Irish pub, or go to even at fairs, there is going to be online streaming going on. People are going to stream their shows because they've got the setup for it, because they've got fans that are used to it, and it's going to be interesting. So you can start preparing for a lot more options from fairs. I think it's going to be an interesting time. So something to look out for. That's my little future prediction, my what if uh, statement. But yeah, thank you, Carol. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Wednesday too. That should be interesting. We tried to get it together, do one of those like a little over a week ago, but there was a weird technical issue because um, they wanted me to set it up where I link with Mark, then put everything together on my end, and then instead of streaming it myself, sending it to through their setup, and then they stream it. So the routing got a little crazy there, and I trying to set it up was not working. So we had to postpone it, and I got all that figured out. So we ended up just doing it the Monday or the Wednesday before. So that worked out. So it should be a lot of fun. Mm. Okay, well I think that's all I'm really going to talk about because we're really getting the this is turned into a long one. And yeah, the in-person shows will still be there, Jan, but I'm just saying, suppose you couldn't go to a show and the online function would be an option. So I think it's gonna be a cool thing, definitely. Something to check out. Oh, and Janine's talking about wooden recorders. You know, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing, Janine. When I first started playing, I only played wooden ones. I mean, I had a few plastic, but at fairs, I would go and play wooden recorders, and they would die because I would play on. I played them all day. I mean, there was very little downtime, so I tried to clean them a couple of times during the day. But it's, I mean, when you think about it, it's wood, so you're just pretty much spitting on wood and letting it soak for hours. And then after several hours, you try to clean it all up, and then you do it again. Right after you clean it, you start playing again. So it's like it was like an 8 hour day of just spitting on wood. And after about a year, that wood would really it didn't handle it well over time. That's a little too much acid. So yeah, humidity plus wood is bad. But it's not just the humidity in the wood; it's the spit because it would soak in and really make the humidity. I mean, seem light considering because uh, a lot of moisture just from your you goes on there. So not good. So I early on I might get a year and a half, 2 years, but then I started playing it more and more and more at fair. And I bought a really nice $100 wooden recorder. I mean, that's not even a great one, but it was a very good one, good deal actually, and it lasted a year, and then it just died. I couldn't get a note out of it. So yeah, and then Drew's right. He was talking about a faux ivory. Recorders used to be made out of wood or ivory, so carved. I mean, that's kind of interesting, and they know a lot about it because ivory recorders survived a lot better than the wooden ones. So they do have several ivory examples um, that haven't deteriorated as much as the wooden ones did. Uh, so yeah, so yeah. I mean, wooden. I mean, it does the if you don't. But I keep in mind, I played the recorder a ton, like 8 hours almost straight all day. So most people are not going to have that. If you play it for a couple hours, then clean it, play it again a couple hours next day and clean it, it's going to last a lot longer. But just keep in mind, especially when you go outside, Drew's right with the humidity and the temperature changes, it really affects the wood a lot. I mean, these woods were not made to keep up with the elements on the side of your house. That's not what these woods are. They are not like that. But the sound and tone is a bit different. I call it a little more earthy, but honestly, it's not a huge difference. So I'm been pretty happy with the plastic, and you can get a really good plastic, like I said, for around $40 is about one of the best plastic recorders you can get. So I don't really know, but if you want to just have a wooden recorder, I say yeah, do it because it does have a slightly different sound, and it is kind of nice sometimes. I have recorded some tunes on the wooden recorder because I think it the sound was better for it. Um, but generally, I think the difference is not huge. I kind of like the neutral aspect of plastic recorder because the the wood sounds very earthy, and like a tin whistle, the metal sounds very metallic. So you can very tinny, which is a nice tone for certain songs. But this is very neutral. I can get away with playing any song or tune on it, and it works, which I kind of like. So yeah, um, we do have we just did a podcast interviewing Justin and Jennifer Haskell, and they, well, I don't know if you know them, are and Tar the Trolls, and they normally are around the Louisiana area, but they're really wonderful characters and great people. So it was very interesting talking to them and finding out a little more about them. So that is a good podcast just released on Patreon today. It'll be up and for general listening tomorrow. So something to look for. And yeah, I think we're coming up on that hour, so I'm gonna call it here. But just yeah, great talking with all of you today, and I think we're looking for a busy week. It's going to be very crazy. Um, and Janine's right. You can wash with dish soap and water. Um, some people even wash recorders in the uh, in the washing machine. For elementary schools with a lot of kids and inexpensive recorders, I think that's a good plan. But for general use, what I do is I just get a pan of hot water, soapy water. I'll just um, get hot water from the tap and put it in with some dish soap, and put it in, and the plastic detached if it comes apart, and let it just soak there overnight. And then the next morning I'll just wash it out and let it air dry, and that does a great job every time. Just dissolves whatever buildup is in there. So yeah. And you don't really have to do overnight. That's kind of overkill, but I figured why not? I mean, you could get away with an hour or two, but I just set it up when I'm about to go to sleep, and then the next morning it's done, so I don't stress over it. So yeah, little tidbit. Okay. Well, thanks very much. It's been a wonderful time talking with you as always, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully at my show on Wednesday, and on our show on Thursday with Life's Affair with a jam session, and maybe a Dragon Con over the weekend. But have a wondrous week and enjoy, because without enjoyment, what's life all about? So take care and have a good time. Thank y'all.